Wiggle, wiggle.
Like.
Wiggle, wiggle.
Saludos amigos, bienvenidos a una nueva edición de Tras Bastidores y tengo el placer y el honor to have here Natalia Markova directamente desde NWA. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Let's speak about your trajectory on NWA because we have seen the past couple of years that your name has been risen in the top of the women division over there. You established your name over there. How do you feel to work not only on the NWA, a company with so many rich history, but like establishing this women's division over there that is really spoken on the wrestling world today?
I actually like being kind of setting the tone for the division because my style was always hard hitting, strong style, very athletic and powerful. So I kind of feel like that I set the tone 2 years ago. And Billy Corgan actually likes the style a lot. And they look for women who work like that. And I like to be the leader of the locker room. And I like to be the face of the company because a lot of people call me nowadays the face of women's division in NWA, which I'm proud to be. And I really love the company. And I think that NWA women's division is one of the best in the world.
Now that you're on the NWA is kind of expanding themselves to the territories like back in the day. And I have seen many matches of yours going to this different territory. How do you feel to represent NWA in this any other companies and travel the world with the NWA flag on yourself?
I love doing that, and I love every time when I go somewhere. I always hear from girls over there that they love what I do. They always ask for advice, and I'm always happy to help. We have like our own wrestling school in Florida where we teach people. So I like teaching people, and I like seeing other people improve. So every time I go somewhere, I'm happy to share my experience, and I share the style of wrestling with other girls. And I hope they listen. I hope overall wrestling in general gets better because of that. That's all I can do.
In those places that you have visited Puerto Rico, and now you're visiting Puerto Rico on May the 11th, but that is not the first time that you're coming. How have been your experience working in WWC?
Oh my God, it's always so fun. Fans there are crazy and awesome, always react really loud. They have a unique style. They have the horns, air horn that make this noise that's really unique to that territory, which gives me really good vibes, and I like hearing it. It's one of my favorite places to go because the place itself is really beautiful, and wrestling there used to be really huge. And the NWA and WWC used to work together in the past always, and I'm happy that this is coming back, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
This upcoming show that is on May the 11th on Honor versus Traición is kind of an NWA versus WWC show because not just you and Bryan, there's many other talents from the NWA that are visiting, but you have a special challenge in that day because there's going to be a fatal four-way where the NWA women's title will be on the line. Uh, how do you feel to that have that match in Puerto Rico? You said that is one of your favorite places to go, but having the chance to become the NWA Women's Champion in Puerto Rico, how do you feel about that? It will be a different style of celebration if you win the champion over here.
I feel like that would be so special if I win it over there. Like it will be like something for history books. For me, that would be really, really awesome. I would be really happy because I think that again, that's the place that I love going to, and it makes it really special if I win the title over there. So I'm really excited about that match.
Well, Natalia, any message that you have for the fans over here in Puerto Rico and the people that are excited to see that match on the upcoming May the 11th show?
Yeah, I want to say thank you guys for coming to those shows, supporting, being loud, buying merchandise. And trust me, May 11th is going to be really special because it's the first time in million years, like in modern era of wrestling, this is the first time of NWA and WWE being together on the same show. And trust me, this is worth watching, worth coming. So May 11th, if you're somewhere in the area, please make sure to come, and you will not regret that, because this will be a unique experience.
Thank you for the opportunity to interview you and for being here on the channel. Gracias a la gente, suscríbase al canal, campanita para notificaciones y vayan a WWC Honor versus Traición. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Saludos amigos, bienvenidos a una nueva edición de Tras Bastidores. And I'm here with the former WWC television champion, Bryan Idol. You're coming to Puerto Rico again. You have been like a main player. You have been a main player in WWC for the past couple of months. You have been television champion. You redesigned the actual title. I see a photo of you with Hulk Hogan with the title. How do you feel about rising the prestige of that television champion that the past couple of months?
Yeah, that title meant a lot to me. I would go out and say probably it's my favorite title that I've ever won. I've probably won about 25 championships. The reason why is because if you know the history of Puerto Rico, you know that belt was held by everyone who's anyone to ever wrestle on that island. And I think the most important part of the whole culture over there is the fact that WWC has been a mainstay on television there. So representing the television aspect of being the television champion, to me, means a lot. And it'll never be lost on me that when I walk through the streets of San Juan, especially, people always recognize me and everyone's still watching it. So it was special to me. And I thought it was important to go back to the old school design because that's when it had the most history. And I think the fans really received it well. So I think it was a good move. I'd kind of like to get the title back, but we'll see.
Now, you're talking about that you lost that title against Lightning, who is a legend in Puerto Rico. So it wasn't like it's not that kind of shame. But
no.
When we speak the first time that you came to the channel, you talk about that you wanted to be that bridge between NWA and WWC, and it was kind of prophetical what you tell, because this show on May 11th, it feels like a WWC against NWA mashup because there's many NWA talent coming up. How do you feel of being like the first person that established that relationship, kind of, and now there's all this talent from NWA coming up with you? So how do you feel to be like a huge part of that happening?
So what I would say is I'm not the first person, obviously. WWC was a territory of NWA all the way back in the 80s, late 70s. I'm the first person to bring it back. And the reason why is just the reasons why I said it's so ingrained in the culture there. You know, wrestling is a part of, Lucha Libre is a part of everyone's heart and soul on that island. It's so much more popular than even people in the States realize. And it's not just about bringing NWA people. It's about bringing the best wrestlers I could possibly bring there to revive the feel of what it used to be like, when the arenas were full of thousands of people every single weekend and there was 3, 4, 5 shows a week there. Wouldn't it be great if we could get that back? And I think if anywhere in the world has a possibility to bring that back, it's the island, man. It's like, it's a whole different thing there. And even the wrestlers here, the ones coming from NWA, I'm not sure they realize, what's capable of happening there. So I tried to bring this together as best as I can. And, I think this is probably only the beginning of it. But I think it's a big door to open, not so much just because it's NWA, but just because there's some higher profile wrestlers coming from the States. And WWC's had a little taste of it with, Dolph Ziggler and the other guys coming through. So I think it just adds to that. And I think the more we sprinkle that in, the better the quality of matches, and it's new matches and things that the fans haven't seen, new stories that can really up the interest level overall. And if we could do that, man, I feel like the sky's the limit. So very proud to do it. And it's something I wouldn't have invested my time in if it was another place. Like, honestly, I've wrestled all over the world. I've never set up something like this before. I made sure that I had a big role in making this happen. So I'm very proud of it. And I think the fans are going to like it. And I think there's a lot more to happen.
Yeah, I think that you see the potential in Puerto Rico as a wrestling community, because wrestling is in our soul, in our blood too.
Yes.
We live it in a different way, and I think that, as you said, many people in the States doesn't realize how popular wrestling is over here and how huge. I think that people notice because the time that WWE come with Backlash over here, and like the world began to notice Puerto Rico, and I think that we need to follow that trend. And I feel this show is kind of a trend to follow for the industry.
Well, here's what I would say. When WWE comes there, I think from the outside, if you're in the States or you're in another country, you would just expect it to be full because it's WWE. And so I don't know if people still realize. So when they see a smaller show, and you look at like the Anniversarios, and even the one I did, the Euphoria, those were thousands of people. So I think when you see that on that level, you realize that there's a lot to work with, and I just think, and all the wrestlers that are local and on the island, there's so many talented ones, but I think it's hard to get them to stand out unless you can put them with someone more established outside of themselves, because it gives this world feel. And, people have different opinions, but pound for pound, probably the best pro wrestling comes from the United States. It's where the most, large brands exist. So when you find talent that's either been there or just on that level, it makes a difference and it elevates the people. Like, I like to think that, all the companies I've worked for on the island, there's been a few, and the matches I had, there's a few there that I think I elevated people. And that's the goal, is to get the fans to see not only the stars that come in, but to know the ones that are already there are capable of competing on the top level. And if you can bring all that together, I think overall it really ups the interest and ups the importance of what's happening. So again, I think this is the beginning of this, and I think we can really see a much larger revival. And I want to say one other point. The history exists. It gets summed up quickly when you talk about the history of wrestling in the island, and it always goes back to the jokes amongst wrestlers in the States of like, oh, don't get stabbed there, this and that, and that's an unfortunate thing that happened a long time ago. But if we're being honest, there's been a lot of bad stuff that happened in the United States wrestling scene that no one even talks about. So I don't think it's fair for the island of Puerto Rico. I don't think it's fair to the wrestlers there. I think it's time to move on and time to show people that this is a very, very fantastic and legitimate place to tell stories and engage the fans, because they're beyond grateful. And I'll say it, I think they're the best fans in the world overall. I don't just say that every place I go. I don't think Japanese fans are the best fans in the world. I think they're great. But if I had to say, are they the best? No, I don't think Canadian fans are the best fans in the world. I don't think English fans are the best fans in the world. I think, honest to God, the best fans that I've ever seen pound for pound are on the island of Puerto Rico. That's why I make an effort to be there. I'm not desperate. I have other places I could be. I know the value of being there, and I think when other people see it, again, it will up everything. So that's the goal, man.
Man, I feel what you said because I feel what you said because there's a television series talking about tragedies that happen all over in wrestling history. I think that is the one, the Dark Side of the Ring. So
Right.
I think that people have a misconception about the wrestling in Puerto Rico, and what you said is something that I have heard from many other wrestlers that have come from Mexico, from United States. They're telling here is one of the best places to wrestle. So I don't think that if many wrestlers, and as you said, tell it, it's not a lie. And you won't get stabbed over here. That's something old. It's an incident that happened in the past, and I think that we have a great chance right now. And speaking about that chance, this is my last question. Do you see the potential of WWC and NWA have worked together when you in this occasion, and probably this could be a relationship that lasts really long, like it used on the past. But do you see wrestlers probably from WWC having the exposure of being on NWA? Do you see that happening?
Okay. So if I'm telling the truth here, that's always been the goal. That's what I'm saying. There's crossover here. Look, the there's all these fans on the island, and they watch WWC. And I know that if WWC wrestlers come to NWA, well, then they're going to watch NWA because they want to see their favorites. So it was never a question of just NWA coming to WWC. It goes both ways. So that's always been the plan. I would like that kind of stuff to have already happened or be happening sooner. But like the truth is, when you get to behind the scenes stuff, is it takes time to work things out. And unfortunately, the NWA has a tight schedule on shows and all that. And we're just trying to get it together to where we can integrate some people, and we know who we would want to see there. And, there's some names that carry a lot of respect. And I would say it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. So yes, that's going to happen. This is not a one-sided. We're not just dumping people in the island and oh, hey, look at us. No, it's got to come the other way, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I mean, I'm not gonna not say it. I'm a big architect in this, and I would be upset if that didn't happen because that's not what was agreed to. What was agreed to is, like I said, both ways. Everybody's coming. So I would say it's definitely something the fans can look forward to and expect. And I would say it's going to be a great thing. And those wrestlers are going to immediately get featured on the CW and all that kind of stuff. So same exposure that any NWA wrestler gets, which, nowadays is growing. And again, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I have a large part in that as far as the NWA. I think it comes down to you have to love this. You have to respect what this business is, and you have to care about what the fans want. And like that's where so many wrestlers get confused. There's a difference of going out there and being the best wrestler for you, but you have to understand if you're not entertaining the fans, if they're not here with it, if you're not engaging them, it's worthless. I don't care about my video clips of me doing a move for me to do it. I care about it because it looks good for the fans and they want to enjoy it. I wrestled a lot of matches in my life. I don't need to do it for the enjoyment or to feel cool. I'm pretty cool in real life. It's okay. So again, it's all about the fans. And if we can give them this and we can take their heroes and put them here and we can take our heroes and put them there, that's the best we can do for now. And we can grow and we can keep growing. And that's what you got to have. And I mean, WWC understands. That's why they've never not been a company since the 70s. You know how many wrestling companies like WWC have come and gone, and that's it. And these guys have figured out how to hold on and stay afloat. And technically, they're the last existing territory of the NWA. And I mean that means something. So we're rebuilding that, and we're bringing it back. And like I said, it's nothing but love and respect. And it's for the fans. It's not for us. It's for the fans. So.
Man, awesome to interview you. Awesome to speak to you because I think that people now have a new perspective on how this relationship is probably going to work and the actual intentions of it. So thank you for your time.
All I can
And
say, I don't want to cut you off, but all I can say is this: the message I want to spread, and you can spread it, and everybody else is listen. We're here to tell the great stories of the histories and the legacies and the traditions of these two companies. And we're trying to bring it back to the way it was when those arenas were full. When you look back at those tapes and it's the loudest, craziest thing, that's what we want. We cannot do that if the fans do not come. So, all I can say is anyone that hears this, or anyone that is watching at home, or anyone that's talking to anyone after this, understand, please come see this, come support it. We're going to grow it, and it's going to be a revival. And you think all these other companies don't notice, but they will. The WWE will notice, AEW will notice, Impact or TNA, whatever they call themselves, they'll notice. Everyone will want a piece of this when it's said and done, because what we're going to do is going to rebuild the interaction between the United States and the island of Puerto Rico, and we're going to do wrestling like it was back in the late 70s, early 80s, with real champions coming and defending against real champions on the island. And the biggest thing, like, that's the plan. This is not some one-off like publicity stunt. We're trying to build this. So, there's always a lot of moving pieces and things to work out, but that's the goal. And that's been the goal since day one. And I'll tell you, I had this feeling before I was even in NWA. I sat there. I think I was in Isla Verde, maybe on the beach there, and it just hit me one day. And I said to myself, like, there's a reason I'm here on this island, and a reason why I feel the way I do. Because let's face it, I'm not from there. I don't have any family there, but I feel like somehow I had some roots there, and I said to myself, what can I do to help here? Like, what can I do to bring this to the level of glory that I think it should be in my mind? And I knew that it involved bringing bigger names from the States and whoever I could pull. And that's why even outside of the NWA, when I speak to big name, very popular wrestlers, you see me with pictures of Hulk Hogan. And I mean, there's a million wrestlers in between. And everybody that I talk to, I always tell them that you got to go there. You got to support them. Do a deal. Come cheaper. Do whatever you can do, because I'm telling you, there's something there. So I'm really glad that I can open the door up and push it through. And that's what I'm going for. And that's what I encourage you guys to push. And that's what I encourage any wrestlers watching this from the States. Come, do a deal. Do what you can do. Make it reasonable. Ones with a name. We don't need guys who nobody ever heard of. We need guys that are, I'm talking to the boys, the real stars. So, come down, and the girls obviously, but come down, do what, do what you got to do, and let's breathe some life into this place.
man, that's awesome. People, yeah, May 11 Honor versus Traición, NWA, WWC. Follow Bryan Idol on their social media.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Be Bryan Idol, whatever. Just Google me. I'm there.
yeah. Denle like al video, suscríbanse. Until next time, thank you.